before we start building on this important subject matter for the day. So hopefully y'all having a powerful Monday, starting the week off on a positive and healthy and powerful note. I'm gonna give everybody about a few minutes to tap in, man, because we got some powerful information to build on today. Something that gets swept under the rug is under the radar, man. We really gonna dive into this subject matter, man. I feel like this is important, but the question that we must ask is, does anybody care about this information that I'm gonna share? Montel, Rayshawn, peace. What's happening? What's the word? How y'all brothers living and feeling on this wonderful Monday? Magic, peace. What's happening? What's the word? So yeah, we see what the subject matter is, but the important question is, like I said, does anybody really care though, or how many people actually care about what I'm gonna build on? My brother Dizzy, peace. What's happening, man? How you been living? How you been feeling, man? What's the word? But yeah, we gonna talk about the suicide rate, man. Colleen, what's happening? Peace, peace. Montel, yeah, everything is good, man. We peaceful, we centered, we balanced. You know, it's Monday, so y'all know we doing these smoothies today. Smoothies, juices, water, all that good stuff. You know, been doing that every Monday for the past few Mondays, man. Just smoothies, liquids, and all of that. Goddess Isis, peace, Queen, what's happening? Devin, peace, what's happening? For sure. Yeah, we gonna build for sure. Dizzy, there you go. Hey, going through it and getting to it. That's the way to do it. K-Pop, man. Peace, what's happening? First off, my condolences, man, to the Pops. But for sure, man, that's one of the reasons why this number is so high, man. Like I said, stuff gets swept under the rug, man, and people don't really understand, like, the science behind, you know, depression and anger and all this type of stuff, man. And people just really don't get it. People really do not get it, man. People really do not understand it. You know, and they just hit us with these cookie cutter solutions, like as if everything was that easy. But when I started doing the knowledge to some of the numbers and the stats, it was alarming, man. It's alarming when you really do the knowledge to it. When you really do the knowledge to the suicide rates, especially in comparison to black men and black women, you say, okay, man, we struggling. Like, we struggling. It's crazy. We struggling. Like, we struggling hard. Because I'm gonna really give y'all a jewel. Wrong piece, what's happening? Just peace, what's happening? Rome, you know how it is, man, when we talk about certain things. But I'm gonna give y'all a jewel, man. The suicide rates that I'm talking about, these are just the actual, listen, this is just a person actually committing suicide, like taking their own life. You know, whether it was a gunshot to the head, hanging themselves, ODing on some medications, these are the numbers. We ain't even talking about the brothers that lack knowledge of self and they going out to place themselves in harm's way intentionally. That's also suicide, but this ain't even accounting for that. Man, I was reading a book to where they said a brother was so deep down in the trenches mentally that is, now this was a messed up situation, but man, this is how messed up dude mind was. Instead of him wanting to take himself out, he started to overindulge in sex to try to get himself, like, to try to get AIDS so that could kill him. And then you got brothers that want to have shootouts with the cops so that the cops can take them out. That's also a form of suicide, but this is not included in these stats that I'm going to bring up. So that's crazy. So the stats that I'm going to bring up, these are just people actually committing suicide. Like, literally taking themselves out. So we not even accounting for the other cases where people placing themselves in situations to where they know that that's going to end up taking them out. We ain't even talking about those. We not even talking about those cases. These are just the cases of brothers that actually went through with it and committed suicide, taking themselves out. These are those numbers. So this don't even factor in all the brothers that have taken themselves out of the game via other means, involving other down in the trenches mentally. He didn't have no will to live, so he went out and started overindulging in sex with the hopes of getting AIDS and allowing the AIDS to kill him. That was his approach to suicide, but that wouldn't even count as suicide technically. His cause of death would be AIDS, pneumonia, things like that. That would be the cause of death, not suicide, but that's really suicide. You know, that's really suicide. He was like, man, I lost the will to live, so let me go on out here and overindulge in sex. Hopefully hopefully I get AIDS and that can take me out. That's crazy. That's crazy. But man, when I did the knowledge to the stats, it's crazy. Listen, and y'all can look this up. And I think this is from, what is this? From like 2011 to like 2020. I believe. Yeah, 2011 to 2020. Listen, and it's per 100,000 individuals. Black men are at 11.7. And this is compared to white men, white women, and black women. Y'all know what's funny about it? Black women have the lowest suicide rate amongst all of them. Black women are at 2.6 per 100,000. Black men are at 11.7. The white women are at 6.2. And the white men are at 22.9. That's crazy. Black women have the lowest suicide rate. Now, y'all can take what y'all want to do with that information. I don't know what that's supposed to mean to you, but I just find it interesting, man. I find it interesting. The people that feel neglected the most, our numbers are skyrocketing. Our numbers are skyrocketing. Like this is just after like a 9-year span. So these numbers are increasing and they will steadily increase. Because you constantly look up and you see brothers, man, they feeling like ain't nobody listening. They feel like don't nobody care. Like these emotions are not getting weaker. These emotions are not declining. Brothers are strongly feeling this way a lot more. Somebody say they got me lagging. Of course they do, man, because this is what we talking about. Of course. But peace to everybody that's tapping in. So it's crazy. We at 11.7 and black women are at 2.6. Why is the gap? Why is it that way? Why do black women have the lowest suicide rate compared to all these other groups? And why are we coming in second place? Why are we in second place? And like give us enough years and it seemed like we about to catch these white dudes. It seemed like we about to catch them. Why are we in second place? It's a lot of reasons for this, man. It's a lot of reasons. I'm talking about when I say stuff is multi-layered, I really mean that, you know? And I don't want to sit here and compare struggles. I don't want to do that. Like I said, man, I know it's certain things that these sisters go through that I could never relate to. I know it. Know and understand. Hey, it's hard being a black woman. You know what I'm saying? I understand that and I respect that. But when I say some of our stuff is getting swept under the rug, when I bring up stats like this is what I mean. This is what I mean. And again, these are the stats. Literally, these stats are the people that like the reported cases of suicide, people actually committing the act. That's what these stats are. You got plenty of brothers out here that don't have a care in the world and they live in the street life, going to war with their enemies every day. That is also a form of suicide. But that's not counted in these numbers. That's not included in these stats. So these young brothers that's out here walking around with these guns, I'm telling you, I'm St. Louis. When I go to downtown St. Louis, every young brother you see in downtown St. Louis walking around with an army gun by his waist. That's how they living in downtown St. Louis. Like they walk around with these guns like it's cell phones. You go downtown, you go to the city of St. Louis, you go downtown, you start seeing these young bulls. They got guns out like it's normal. That is suicide. That is suicide. What do you think is going to happen to you? You living a life to where you got to walk around with this gun like it's a phone. You got to keep it on you at all times and you walking around like that's the norm. Go drive to downtown St. Louis. You're going to see young bulls with nothing but guns out. Like the guns are out. They not trying to conceal these guns. It's out. What type of mentality you think that is? These dudes ain't trying to live. They not ready to live. They ready to die. They ready to die. Like, come on, man. They ready to die. But again, that's not included in the numbers, yo. It's not included in the numbers. It's not included. Oh, Chris, 100%. And again, Black women also, they more susceptible to go seek out some type of assistance. They have a little bit more trust than we do when it comes to getting help, seeking help. You know, they liable to find somebody they can relate to more than we can. And that's just an unfortunate reality. And when it comes to therapy, people make that seem like it's something real simple. Go get therapy. That's like telling a person that's out of shape, go get a trainer. Y'all know how complicated that process can actually be? It's not that simple. You can go, listen, the first trainer that you get may not be a good trainer. So you're going to have to get trainer number 2. Still might not be a good trainer. Just because you getting a trainer don't mean you're going to lose weight. Just because you getting a trainer don't mean you're going to build the muscle. So it ain't really that simple. That may be a step in the right direction, but you getting that trainer don't mean absolutely anything for your actual health. You got to vet these trainers out to see who is a good fit for you. So now let's break down the statistics. How many of us brothers that's going through it, large number, how many of us can go find a therapist that we can actually relate to, meaning another black man probably? What's the percentage of that? Yeah, you have black male therapists. So then when I find a black male therapist, now I got to find one that I can connect with. So I'm not just going to connect with a dude because he's a black man. I got to now find the black man therapist or the black male therapist that I can relate to. So it was already hard enough to find a black male therapist. Now I got to find one that I can connect with, that I can vibe with, that I'm comfortable with. How hard is that? How hard is that? So let alone like that percentage is already low in regards to black male therapists. Now I got to go find one that I can actually fool with. Just like you go find a trainer, now you got to find a trainer that you can fool with. I got to go find a black man that I actually trust. I don't rock with all black men just because they black men. No, like I gotta feel comfortable talking to you. Kevin, you can find a sister. I'm going off of your natural inclination. Yes, we have exceptions to the rule. I may be able to find a sister that I can connect with and vibe with and vibe to. But my natural inclination is to find another brother. Like honestly. And I'm just being honest, and I know a lot of other brothers are like that too. So we gotta fight that natural inclination to even get to that point. Naturally, we gonna be like, I want to find another man that I can talk to that may be able to relate more to my problems. Kevin, let me give you an example. Kevin, let me give you a reason why some of us gonna go towards some black men gonna go towards black men first. You think about it. A lot of brothers feel like the source of their problems are black women. So if you already feel like the source of a lot of your problems revolve around black women or something like that, then you more than likely might gravitate towards black dudes or gravitate towards a brother. You might not want to talk to another black woman because you feel like that's the source of a lot of your problems. Now, that may not be the actual source of your problems, but you feeling that way because you done had a lot of situations with these women over the years. I've had plenty of women not want me to train them because they don't want a male trainer. So they automatically eliminating all the good male trainers because they done had bad experiences over the past with dudes. And it may not even be that they had bad experiences with male trainers. They didn't just have bad experiences with men. So therefore they like, I don't want a man training me. I want a woman. A lot of dudes don't automatically have that type of perspective or perception towards therapists. Like, listen, these women causing me problems. I prefer to talk to another man. So when they exhaust all of those options, then they might be like, all right, let me see if I can talk. Let me see if I can talk to this sister, man. Let me see if I can find a woman therapist. That's how that goes. So yeah, you may be able to find a woman therapist because a good therapist is a good therapist. But we going off natural inclination. We naturally inclined to go rock with somebody that looks like us, man. We want to have that man talk. You know what I'm saying? Like it's certain things that we may want to let out on that therapist couch that we might not feel comfortable doing if we talking to a sister. Y'all know the locker room talk. It's some things we just not going like it's going to take a lot for us to reveal certain things around some women, especially a woman that we don't know. But when it comes to a dude, if we trust this dude, we letting it all out. Locker room talk. You know, straight up, and that's the thing on that. So we gotta vet them out. You know, and then on top of it, what's crazy, I was also doing knowledge to this book too, and it was talking about black men and just how we have been disrespected by the system, and our distrust for the medical field getting help in regards to white folks giving us the help. And this book, it brought up a very good point. And I mean, my goodness, it brought up a very good point in regards to like black men going to see like white male or white women in regards to therapy, and just how they don't, it's a lot of things that they can't resonate with, and it may lead to a misdiagnosis. And one of the things that came up when I was reading that, it was like it brought up the example of a black dude going into the therapist's office talking to the white folks, and was like, every time the cops get behind me, my anxiety increases. When the cops get behind me, I'm nervous. My anxiety is through the roof. Or when I go into a department store, I feel like they watching me. Or I feel like the government is after me, X, Y, and Z. Well, when a white person hears that, they gonna misdiagnose you and say you schizophrenic, like you a paranoid schizophrenic. And he brought up a case of that because they can't relate to that. Like, nah, that's like, listen, that has everything to do with racism and a life that our ancestors had to live. Like, this actually happens, man. When the cops get behind us, we nervous because we don't know what's gonna happen to us. This ain't got nothing to do with being schizo. This has everything to do with life experiences. But white people can't relate to that. A white person don't know what it feels like when the cop get behind them and they ain't did nothing, but they still nervous. White people can't relate to that. So how can they properly diagnose that? Instead, they gonna say you paranoid. They gonna say you paranoid and you schizophrenic. Ain't nobody after you. Ain't nobody watching you when you in these stores. We not saying that they not, but it's the way we feel based off of past experiences. I done had situations that where cops done pulled up on me when I'm parked in the driveway of my people's crib. I just went to go get some snacks. I went to the gas station to go get some snacks. Cop pulled up on me, and I'm parked in the driveway asking me where my address and stuff. Man, that could have went left. I live here, but I guess the house was too nice for a black brother to be living in there, sitting outside with his snacks on some Trayvon Martin type vibes. Man, that could have ended incorrectly. So you paranoid. You can't sit in your car too long because you afraid that somebody gonna call the cops on you. You sitting outside just looking at your phone for 5 minutes, and now the cops approach you. Man, you paranoid, man. You listen, when the cops get behind me, man, I could be going 20 miles per hour below the speed limit, and I'm still nervous. Still nervous. Like, seriously, who can relate to that? They can't. So they gonna look at that like, this dude sounds paranoid. This dude sounds schizophrenic. You start revealing certain pieces of information, and you feel like, the government, you know what I'm saying? Like, Big Brother tapped in. You paranoid, you schizo. Man, this is real. Like, this really happens. This really happens to black folks. So that leads, things like that leads to distrust. Man, I don't want to talk to no white dude. I don't want to talk to no white woman. Unfortunately, yeah, there may be some white dudes, there may be some white women that can help me, but I don't want to talk to them because I don't feel like they can relate to a lot of what I done went through and experienced in the wilderness of North America. So that then eliminated all of them. And that's just me. Hey, some of y'all may feel cool to connect and vibe with them. I just don't. I'm not talking to no white dude. I'm not talking to no white woman. I don't care how much she says she can relate to what it is that I done went through. I don't feel comfortable. If I go seek some help, I'm not talking to them. I don't feel comfortable because a lot of the reasons why I may be dealing with something mentally is because of how I was treated by white, like the system. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't relate to that. So a lot of my problems stem from like racism, being discriminated against. I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to talk to them, like, at all. Like, flat out. I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do that. And in that book, and Bobby, I see you asked for the book. This book is here. Black Men and Depression. Black Men and Depression. Now, this book is cool. It's got some points in it that I don't necessarily agree with, but it's a cool book, man. He just, his experiences and whatnot, I can relate to it. I can relate to it for sure. But Black Men and Depression, saving our lives, healing our families and friends. He real big on like the medication. Y'all know me, I'm more holistic with it. For every medication that they prescribe us, man, we got herbs and we got foods that can activate those same like receptor sites, man. And activate those same feelings and things like that, man. So we just gotta eat right. We gotta eat right, and we gotta do the knowledge to certain herbs. But that's the only part that I kind of disagree with, you know? Him feeling like in order to treat depression, you have to be on some medication. I don't necessarily believe that. And, you know, research has shown and proven that you can definitely change your mental state by changing the way that you eat. Like, that's a fact. That's not 100% going to work because it's only like 30 to 45% of the situation. But it's definitely helpful for you to change the way that you eat to clear out that mental space, man, to help with depression. It's a lot of info on that. You know, it's a lot of information on that. So the same things that they claim some of these drugs can do, most of the food, like if you eat clean and you take certain herbs, do the same thing minus the side effects. Minus the side effects. Keyword, minus the side effects. You know, minus the side effects. But we got, it's a lot of reasons, man, why the suicide rate for black men is 3 times higher than black women, man. It's a reason why, man. It's a reason why, man. I done watch plenty of men in my misdiagnosed. You know, you go in there for one thing and they tell you got another thing, man. It's hard for us to find folks that we trust. Unfortunately, this system that did us very, very dirty. Very, very dirty. We do not trust these folks, man. We don't trust these folks way more than anybody else. Listen, when it came to us getting murdered, assassinated, killed, for just slaughtered for no reason, like that was us. That was black men. We were getting killed. You know what I'm saying? We was first on the pecking order. Like, we gonna kill this black man. We gonna kill this black man first. That's what we gonna do. We gonna prioritize the assassination of this black male. We were first. So if something is gonna happen to some people, it's gonna be us first. So that's why, like, we don't trust these doctors. We don't trust talking to these therapists, man. We don't trust it. We done been led in the wrong direction by too many different people. So that's why a lot of times we just bottle things in. Yeah, that's not healthy, but man, it's the unfortunate reality. And we done became a product of our circumstances, of our history. You know? Just due to knowledge to our history, man, we getting killed first, and we getting killed terribly. We getting killed terribly. When you look up the guinea pigs, when you look up a lot of these experiments, man, we at the forefront of it. So nah, we not going in there. We don't want to get checked. Every time we go in there and get checked out, they telling us a million different things is wrong with us. Half the time it might not, listen, a million things wrong with us, but it might just be one. But they done told us a million things wrong. It's like when you go get your car fixed, man. You just trying to, not car fixed, but you go get an oil change, and they tell you a million different things wrong with your car. And 70% of what they told you wrong with the car ain't really wrong with it. Like, come on, man. Come on, man. That's how they do us. And then when we try to trust them, they don't help us. Back in the day, and I always tell the story, man, when I was a young boy, I stayed going to the doctors and I stayed going to the nurses. I had a lot of situations that was going on. I had a lot of health issues, man. Asthma, you know, I stayed getting bronchitis. My respiratory system was garbage. I was getting nosebleeds, headaches. I'm having all of these problems as a young boy. So I stayed going to the doctor. I'm like, man, yo, like, hey, I'm experiencing this. I'm experiencing that. No, like, not once did I get a solid answer as to why I was going through what I was going through. Not one time. All they was doing was prescribing me all type of medication. Not once. They was just giving me little medications. I'm like, dude, why am I getting these nosebleeds? Why is my head always hurt? Why can't I run a lap without feeling like I'm about to die no matter how many times I run it when y'all told me my asthma's gone? Like, come on now. No, Chris, the only reason I say that, man, my pops is also a mechanic. Now, he a flight mechanic officially, but he works on cars. But I done been ganked a million times by mechanics, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like, I done went in there, they done told me, I done had situations to where mugs is telling me my battery is about to die, and I know that that's a lie. Because my pops is a mechanic. Say people don't So I ain't speaking on it out of ignorance. Like my pops is that. So I be knowing what's up with my car before I go even. I just be going to get an oil change. So I be knowing what's up. And I done had plenty of people try to throw me in all type of circles when I'm already knowing that that's not what's wrong with it. I'm like, we just got this battery, man. And we done had this battery tested before we came here. So I done got pimped and ganked a few times, man. Not even a few times, a lot. And I'm talking about like these mainstream places, man, where you go get your oil change and get your car fixed, like those joints. I done been, man, listen, I done been ganked. Now the neighborhood mechanics, some of them are cool. Like I fool with them. You know, I used to have a cat that came into the bank. Like I'll let him pick my car up, and fix that joint. But man, like these mainstream joints, oh no. Literally, man, I done had mugs tell me my battery is finna die. I'm knowing it's false. Then I go to somebody else, man, that battery strong as a, you know what I'm saying? Crazy. But yeah, I'm talking about the mainstream joints, man. They be arm and a leg. I be supporting the local mechanics. You know what I mean? I be supporting them. Like it's a brother now. He a mobile mechanic. I support the brother. I trust him more than I would trust them. He ain't finna tell. And he also told me that. He was like, man, they telling you all this wrong with your car and this only this. You know, last time I had a big issue, they was telling me all this dude looked at my car and was like, man, it's only this. And boy, he fixed it. Boom, we good to roll. But yeah, man, we gotta tap in though. We gotta tap in. This suicide rate is crazy. This suicide rate is crazy for black men. I mean, we had 11.7. More than 3 times higher than black women, man, and we not talking about it, man. How many times are people, like how many people are actually building on this? How many people are actually building on this, man? Like how many people are actually building on why the suicide rate amongst black men is high? Like how many people are building on it? You know, like I said, from our like us distrusting, like the distrust that we have in regards to the system. I mean, the foods that we are eating. And then we got to understand too. We got to understand the objective of white society. We got to understand the objective of this system. It's to strip the black man of his manhood. It's to strip the black man of his manhood. Most black men, contrary to popular belief, just want to provide. They want to go make a decent amount of money to take care of their family. That's what a lot of black brothers want to do. But this system makes it that much harder for us to do that. So when that becomes complicated, then we start feeling like less of a man. And so now here we go. I'm just trying to feed my fam, but like I can't get no fair shot. I'm getting discriminated against, and I'm trying to do this honestly. So now I gotta go get it by illegal means. But everybody want to tell me, you know, everybody want to make it seem like we on an equal playing field. We got the same opportunities as such and such. So then when everybody keep telling you this when you young and you getting denied, you gonna start thinking something's wrong with you. You're gonna say, man, I'm applying for all these jobs, man, and everybody rejected me. And everybody keep telling me, well, everybody got the same opportunities. Woo, woo, woo. So you like, dad, man, something must be wrong with me. So then that's when depression starts kicking in. You getting denied all these opportunities as a black man, things you know you can do. You trying to play the game fair. You trying to play the game like they told you to play it. Whole while they discriminating against you, but they making it seem like it's your fault that you not getting these jobs. They making it seem like something's wrong with you in regards to why you can't feed your fam. So now depression has kicked in because they stripping your ability to be a man. They stripping you of your ability to be a man and provide for your fam. They making it that much more complicated for you. And once that kicks in, man, it's listen, domino effect. It's only gonna go downhill from there. Man, it takes us a very long time. As men, it takes us a very long time for us to get, like as black men, to get in the position to where we are financially stable. It takes us a very long time. Seriously, I'm telling you. And this is if you do everything right and exact. Like this is if you do everything right and exact. It's still gonna take us a long time to get to that point. I'm talking about you got to do everything right and exact for you to get to that point. If you do everything perfectly, it's still gonna take you some years to reach that point to where it's like, all right, I'm in a good spot to take care of myself and some other folks. That's manhood, man. The man, like naturally the man just wants to provide. So when he's not able to do that, man, he feels like less of a man. So now he about to go do all type of stuff to prove that he's a man. He about to start shooting, killing, but like he finna do all this other stuff. He finna go sleep with a bunch of different women. Anything that can give him some power, he gonna do it. Because you done stripped his ability to be a man. Because all he wanna do is provide, but he getting discriminated against. He getting discriminated against. All he want to do is go work this job, but y'all making it that much harder because y'all feel threatened. Chris, for sure. We already, you know what I'm saying? We always tap into that transference of masculinity to them, for sure. You know, and that's why I say this is only going to incline. Like when you talk to these brothers, man, listen, these brothers we all have similar sentiments. So it ain't even a wide range of emotions. Like we all have similar sentiments in regards to like the mental struggle that we go, like we all are experiencing pretty much similar things. Some of us may go about the solutions differently, but we experiencing similar things. We are experiencing similar things. It's crazy. I'm talking, man, do y'all understand, man? My discrimination, it runs deep. It runs deep to the point where I know it's some ways that I'm moving right now that stems from the discrimination that I was receiving in high school. I know it. I know that for a fact, man. I know that for a fact. You know, I'm telling you, when I talk to all these brothers, man, just the discriminate, all this stuff is just real in the field, man. It's real in the field. We the number one threat. Like, listen, that white man don't necessarily care about, listen, he gonna hire the sister. He's not worried about the sister taking his power. He's not worried about this. See, he gonna employ the sister. He ain't worried about that. But when you a black man and you got the same credentials as this white, he sees you as a threat, ultimately. He sees you as a threat. It's the same way with like some of the white women viewing black women as a threat. That white man views that black man as a threat. So it's like, nah, if we gonna hire this dude, we gonna do everything in our power to keep him beneath us. We gonna do everything in our power. Just like if you a sister and you working in a corporation that's headed by a white woman, it is no way that you finna get to that level. No way. You ain't about to get close to her position. Although you got the same qualifications, although you do this job just as good as she ever could, you not gonna get close. She sees you as a threat. She sees you as a threat. It's the same way in our field. They gonna only let you go so high. They gonna only let you go. Of course, they gonna have a token blacks, but they only gonna let that token black go so far, just so they can prove, hey, look, we not racist. Like to do, we not racist. We got white friends. We got black friends. That's what some of these corporations try to do. Look, we ain't racist. We got two black dudes on the board, or we got one black man on the board, because nowadays the game plan ain't even to get black men in a position. Minority means everything. Everything outside of white man is a minority. Everything outside of white man is considered minority technically. If you are not a white male in the wilderness of North America, you are technically considered a minority. So white women are technically considered minorities. So again, they don't care anything about including a bunch of black men in the room, because technically the minority white women, black men, other ethnic groups, the LGBT community, they are minorities also. So man, we are literally at the bottom of that. Literally. Literally. So when they talk about diversity, they don't necessarily mean black dudes are included. Like, we at the bottom. They can literally have a diverse room and not one black man be in there. Literally. They can literally be like, we practice diversity. We preach diversity. And not have one black man in that room, not have one black man employed. But it can still be considered diverse because they have all these other groups. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. So ain't nobody looking out for us. We gotta look out for ourselves, man. We gotta look out for ourselves, man. Like it ain't we can't listen. We can, but it ain't the no. Like when a dude is going through a situation like that, like the difference. Listen, when the dude is facing a situation like this, again, what is the advice? Go man up. Go make a way for yourself. Create opportunities. Like that's what we get. It's never any sympathy. Oh, they ain't giving you no job. Quit crying. Quit begging them. Go make something happen. Go cut grass. Go do this. Why I hear that. And I respect that because that's what I did. I made something happen for myself. It ain't necessarily as easy as we be trying to make it seem. Because we talking about providing. We talking about generating funds to where we can provide. So when we got to start doing stuff like that and it takes a very long time to build that type of stuff up. You know, but that's the advice. They quick to just, oh, they ain't give us quit crying. Go man up, go do this. Go learn how to do this. Go learn how to work on the house. Go work on cars. Go do this. It ain't that easy for some dudes. It just ain't that simple for some dudes, man. Like, but that's the first thing you get smacked with when you trying to get these jobs and you didn't apply for 100 jobs and the 100 jobs then rejected you. Again, you trying to play the game the way that they telling you to play the game, but now you getting penalized and you don't even understand why, and then don't nobody really care about it. Don't nobody have no sympathy. Because you can't go depend on this system. You gotta make a way for yourself. So you might go do it by illegal means. Like, man, I ain't finna have this. The government ain't finna necessarily take care of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't finna happen, so I gotta find a way to generate some funds. I need some funds, man, and these jobs ain't working. When I was studying studying Nipsey talked about that, man. He was like, dude, he was trying to work these jobs, man. He was like the jobs just wasn't working out for him, man. So he had to find another avenue to generate some revenue. And man, at the end of the day, man, most black men, again, contrary to popular belief, most black men just striving to make this money so we can provide. That's all we trying to do. That's all that we try and do. It's like a story, man. In a story, man, you gonna have the person that everybody is rooting for, and you gonna have the villain that's in the way of that person achieving a goal. So you gonna have the person in that story, man. They got a goal. It's something that they striving to reach, and you gonna have that villain that's preventing them from reaching that goal. That's the black man. Man, we just trying to provide. It's just simple things we trying to do, but we got a lot of obstacles in the way. We got a lot of obstacles in the way, man. It's a lot of obstacles. There's a lot of things working against us that we got to keep fighting against. And that stuff, it starts to drain you mentally. It starts to drain you. You know what I'm saying? Even when you start doing something that I'm doing, building something for yourself. Man, this ain't easy. Man, this ain't easy, man. Chris, my brother, appreciate the donations, and for sure. Yeah, that counts as 2. Yeah, for sure. 100%. But this ain't easy, man. I had to go build a gym from the ground up. From the ground up, man. You don't just do that overnight and be successful. Man, I had to build a gym from the ground up. Man, I had to invest in marketing. Man, listen, it's been plenty of months where I'm like, man, I don't know if this finna work. Man, this is stressful. It ain't easy, but it's something that I have to do. If I stayed in corporate America, man, they was gonna keep shortchanging your boy. And man, I'm talking about, man, my anger and frustration was at its peak when I was dealing with corporate America. Man, they kept playing with me. I got the same degrees that everybody else got. Man, I went to the whitest institution that you can go to as far as college. Graduated with 2 of them. Man, I ain't gave nobody no reason to not trust me. Man, I be at work on time. I'll never call off. Like, I'm a dedicated employee. But then I'm watching other people get promoted, and I'm like, man, I ain't got time for this, man. I ain't got time for this, man. Like, that was pissing me off. I'm like, man, what did I do this for? Y'all talking about an American dream, man, that's garbage. You know, I played that game fairly. I ain't had no police record. I ain't did none of these things. I ain't got nothing. If you looked at my resume on paper, you would think that I was white. You would think that I was a white dude. If you look at my resume on paper, you would swear that I was white. You would swear I was white. From my name to the schools that I went to. You would swear that I'm white. You would swear I'm white. So if you look at me on paper, man, my name is Eric Bell. Man, that it don't even like it ain't even like I got a crazy name. Like my name could be white. You know what I'm saying? I went to from sophomore year to senior year high school. I went to a private high school, a Lutheran high school. Then college, I went to a Catholic college in Davenport, Iowa. Everything about my resume says white. Until I bust up in there and I'm the blackest dude that you would ever come across. And they like, oh, snaps. Yeah, we can't bring him in here. This dude then went to our schools, then walked away with 2 degrees and was on the dean's list. Oh, no, it's a threat. So y'all penalizing me because I played the game and did good at it and mastered it. So I got penalized for that. But then they had me thinking something was wrong with me. Man, I'm telling you, I was in a deep state. I was in deep mental state dealing with corporate America, man. It was deep, man. I'm getting rejected left and right, man. I'm like, hey, something must be wrong with me, man. I'm trash at this. I'm trash at that, man. I ain't no good. All because they taking away my ability to do what I just want to do at the end of the day. You know? So now I'm on a path where I gotta build something up on my own. You know? And that ain't very simple. It takes time. It takes a lot of time. Takes a lot of time, man. You know, so I'm embracing this process, but this process ain't easy. And unfortunately, a lot of brothers, we got to take on this type of process in order for us to provide the basic necessities, man. The basic necessities. So we got a lot working against us, man. We got a lot working against. We already out the womb. We got to work 1,000 times harder than anybody else. 1,000 times harder. Man, we got to be on point. There is no, like, our margin for error is slim. We don't even really have margin for error. Like, we get on these jobs, they waiting for us to take an L. That's why they waiting for us to take an L. They like, yep, all right. The moment you do something, the moment you take one L, they like, all right, yeah, this job is gone from you, fired. But it gets swept under the rug. If you listen to everybody else talk, you would think that mentally, you would think mentally that everybody else is worse off than black men. But when you look at the numbers, black man, we right up there with we right up there with we second. We second. Because unfortunately, a lot of us brothers, and people be like, oh, well, y'all just need to express yourself. I swear to you, that right there triggers my anger. That triggers my frustration. When people just make it seem like it's just, well, y'all just need to learn how to communicate. Y'all just need to express yourselves. Captain Obvious, don't you think we know that? Don't y'all think we know that expressing ourselves could be helpful? We don't know how to. It's not easy for us to do that because we don't trust folks. So it's very hard, especially when that's not in our nature. It is not in our nature to be that way. So it is complicated. It is very complicated. So when you tell us the obvious, I'll be getting that makes me upset. That lets me know that you really not listening. And you don't care to understand. When you say simple things like, well, y'all just gotta express yourself, y'all just gotta communicate. We know. That's part of the problem. Some of us want to express ourselves. Some of us don't even know what the problem is. We want to express ourselves. We don't know how. So you just ain't gonna learn how. You just ain't gonna wake up one night and then be like, oh, I'm a master at expressing myself. It don't work like that. Jazz, peace. What you say? You say, not sure if we already went over this, but how can black women help our men without coddling or emasculating them? The first thing, this will solve a lot of problems. And I say this all the time. Listening with no judgment. Just striving to understand where we coming from. Just listen. Listen. Like that's just it. Like listen. We don't feel like we are ever being heard, and we don't feel like anybody cares simply because we don't feel like anybody is listening to us when we start like venting and or expressing ourselves. So listening without judgment is a good place to start. And a lot of times the judgment is something that's called a micro insult. And I learned that from reading in the book. It's an insult that it's like a person giving you an insult without realizing they insulting you. Sometimes a lot of sisters do that. And brothers do that too. We all do that. But a lot of times when a brother is expressing themselves, we get hit with micro insults to where the woman, like, she think that she legitimately giving advice, but it's really like kind of an insult. Like when I made my little post that I made on Facebook and the black women comment talking about get therapy. That's a micro insult. You might think that you giving some very helpful advice, but that is a micro insult. That's real dismissive, and you don't realize what you're doing. That's what a micro insult is. And a lot of times brothers get hit with that to the point where you might think that your response was warranted. You might think that response was cool, but it wasn't. So sometimes it's best to just not even say nothing and just let the brother just get the stuff off his chest and just strive to understand and listen. Sometimes no response is the best response. Sometimes we ain't looking for advice. Most of the time, we ain't really looking for these advice and suggestions. We just want to get some things off our chest, and at the end of the day, we gonna keep it pushing. But a lot of times, man, I didn't been there. I done seen other brothers. I done seen it up close and personal. Those micro insults are real. Like, it's real. So I would just say start there. And we can reciprocate that too. You know, when y'all talk, listening to understand. Not just listen, it's a difference between listening to understand a problem, like to understand a person, I should say. It's a difference between listening for that and just listening simply because you just feel like you have to. Because you with somebody and they got some things to get off their chest, so you just listening because of that. I'm just listening because I feel like I have to. Opposed to listening to really strive to understand what's going on in the mind of that person. That's a difference. It's levels to listening. You know, you could just be listening because you like, all right, yeah, this the person that I'm with, so I'm just listening to him just because, but I really still don't care at the end of the day. I'm just listening because this the person that I'm with, and they got some things off their chest. It seems like something is bothering, so I'm listening because, but you really ain't focused. You ain't concentrated. You ain't concentrating on what they actually saying. You hearing them, but you're not listening. Opposed to listening to strive to gain an understanding of what's really going on in the mind of that person. That's just number one. Like, that number one can solve all the problems. Not all of them, but solve majority of them. Devin, and unfortunately, a lot of brothers feel like that. And unfortunately, see, sisters got to understand this. So it's in reverse. I'm going to give y'all the reverse. Because, you know, when sisters go say, you know, boom, when they start talking about how these dudes ain't this, based off of their experiences with the dudes that they have chosen. And so brothers be like, don't place me in that box. You know, and then women be like, well, all women don't think like that. It's the same on that end for dudes. Dudes didn't express themselves to a lot of women, and that trust has been broken. So therefore, they don't feel like they have anybody to talk to. They don't trust letting it all out, being vulnerable to a woman because of past experiences. So while that may be messed up, that's just how you wired, like, emotionally and mentally. When you didn't try something and you didn't did it several times and people didn't stung you, then you like, nah, I'm good. You gonna have what they call trust issues. And that's just unfortunate. Just like when sisters get did dirty by dudes on more than one occasion and they start having these trust issues with dudes. That's natural. So when a dude didn't express himself and broken things down to multiple women and they all then betrayed the trust, the brother has trust issues. It may not be nothing against you, sister, at that moment. When you come into his life and he's in that state, it may not, you might be a righteous sister. You might be right and exact and on point. But man, that brother, them trust issues is unfortunately going to cloud his judgment. Because he didn't have 5 situations to where he thought I could trust such and such and it failed. So now he don't know who he can trust. So he like, man, I ain't sharing nothing. I ain't sharing anything with anyone. Because the 5 women that I shared some with, I thought I could trust all 5 of them, and they all said nah. They all betrayed the trust. So why should I trust you? What makes you different? So then when you start breaking down what makes you different, you're going to start saying the same thing that the other 5 said. So it's all triggers. It's all triggers, man. Just like when a woman asks a dude what makes you different from the rest of them, and he start telling you the same things that the dude that betrayed your trust said. You're going to be looking at this dude like, fool, I done heard this before. Brothers didn't went through the same thing. So when a brother asking a sister, man, what makes you different from the rest, and she say the same exact things, well, we finna view you in the same exact light. And you might be right this time. But the other 5 that said this before me, so I can only go based off of that. You know, and that's an unfortunate reality. So when dudes that been scarred multiple times by women betraying their trust, man, it's like letting them guards down becomes a complicated task. And at that point, man, when a brother shuts down, like, it's real in the field, because we didn't already pretty much been educated to be that way. So when we shut down, it's different. Like, when we shut down, it's different, man. We don't care to talk to none of y'all no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, when we done had that trust betrayed, man, a dude ain't got time for it. When you get a dude to shut down, man, we good. We finna hit you with the I'm good. Because we gonna feel like there's really no point, man. We gonna feel like there's really no point in expressing ourselves, man, because nobody got time for that. We got other things that we gotta tend to as men. We got things we gotta tend to as men. So it's like when we done been burned a few times in that regards, we done already been taught not to be emotional. So the few times that we done opened up and been emotional and we done got betrayed, then we gonna go back to how we was raised, and it confirms that. Like, man, you ain't supposed to be that way. You ain't supposed to be crying as a man. Then the few times that we cry and you make fun of it, oh, nah, we good. We good. Because we was already taught not to do that. So the times that I was vulnerable enough to let that guard down and then you betray that, oh, nah, nope. Nope. Oh, man, they told me not to do that. They told me I shouldn't let my guard down like that. And I did it, and now here we are. Now you going to go back to your roots in regards to how you was raised as a man. That's what's going to happen. Women wasn't raised like that. So when a man shuts down, it's completely different because of the way we was already raised to not be that way. So when we finally open up, like, and it is betrayed, like, nah, man, because we wasn't even taught to do that. We wasn't even taught to do it. So it's like that. So when the dude shuts down, it's hard to get that brother to open back up. Cause you gonna lose the desire to really be cause it really is not in our nature to be like emotional. So like we lose that desire rather quickly. Like a woman, like, yeah, she might shut off, but it's in her nature to express her emotions. Man, it might be that time of the month for her. She just gonna start crying for reasons she don't even know. You know, so she got Mother Nature on her side for her to like release emotions and things like that. Like a dude, it ain't even just natural for us sometimes to release our emotions. So the times that we do and it gets betrayed and we decide to shut off, man, good luck getting that brother to open up. Because at that point, man, we good. We ain't finna talk. We not finna open up in that regards. We not. So sisters, so that's another thing, Jazz. So when you get a man that's finally that they built up the courage to finally be vulnerable, please respect that. Like, do not use any of that stuff against them. Please don't. So when you get a man that trusts you enough to be vulnerable, please respect that. Please don't use nothing don't use that against that brother, man. That's the worst thing you can do, is use any of that stuff that he revealed to you against him. Because I'm telling you, once that happens one too many times, that dude is done. Emotionally, that brother is done. Because again, we done already been raised that way. So when the dude finally builds up that courage to be vulnerable and vent to you, please respect it, man. Take that to the grave. Just take that to your grave. Don't slap him over the head with it when y'all have a dispute. Please don't do that. Like, please don't do it. Don't go gossip behind his back to your family members and your homegirls and start telling them everything that. Please don't do that, because people talk too much. So please don't do that. Just like y'all would want that from us. Please do not. Please respect that. Like, man, he did not have to open up to me, and he did. I'm respecting that. And Jazz, now see, and I just built on the reason why some of them brothers are like that towards women. You know, unfortunately, like for the most part, when you initially start off, now again, we ain't gonna express ourselves like y'all express yourselves, but for the most part, before the history of being betrayed, a dude gonna, you know what I'm saying, a dude gonna chop it up, a dude gonna let you know some things. But after a long history of being betrayed, like it ain't enough for that dude to shut off. So by that time, when you come across that dude and he done been emotionally betrayed, like he is in a totally different space. Totally different space. But man, when a dude get with the right woman, man, he really don't mind talking to her. Like seriously, he don't mind unleashing some things on her. You know, he don't mind doing that. It's just brothers done did that too many times and they got betrayed. Like, notice what I'm saying. Brothers done did that too many times. Meaning brothers have done it. They just get betrayed. And so now the trust is out the window. Rika, for sure. And I know sisters like that too. Man, I see it on Facebook. I see it on Facebook. I done seen women on Facebook like, man, dude better not ever vent to me because I'm gonna call him a bitch and things like that. I'm like, damn, like that's where y'all at? I done seen that. I done seen that on Facebook. I done heard that. It's crazy. Dudes have been told that, so dudes just like, cool, I see how we feeling, so I'm good. I ain't even finna go that route. Cause you not about to, like, one thing you not finna do is call a man that too many times, and that works. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's one thing you not finna do is call a man that. You know, like a man ain't finna take that type of disrespect too many times. Like, nah, you not finna call no dude that. So at any given moment like that, like a dude feeling like that's how you feel, like, nah, we ain't even finna go that route because we know how that can unfold. You know, we know how that can unfold. That might not end well. You know, like you calling that dude out of his name because he didn't decide to be emotional is not gonna end well. Or be vulnerable, things like that, because we all like emotional in a sense. But you know, when that dude decides to break things down to you and you want to call him out of his name in that regards, like no. There is, like, listen, there are not too many dudes on the planet that I know takes kindly to being called that. Most dudes I know, when they get called that by other men, that's fighting words. Like, we ready to fight. Like, you just don't call the dude that. Like, yeah, y'all might be sticks and stones. Nah, you certain things you just don't call a man. You just don't do it. You know, and I didn't heard that from sisters. Like, nah, like I like that. Like, brothers gotta stay away from a sister like that. Because like the brothers, the amount of brothers that I know that's dealing with like anger, frustration, like you do not need that type of energy around you, man. For sister viewing you in that light because you trying to open up and vent, you got to go, because that ain't gonna end well. That's gonna end in some bad situations, terrible situation, like for real. You know, so that you got to watch that. if you in a situation like that, man, you got to exit stage left. That ain't gonna end well. You know. Yeah, Big Smooth, and it ain't even like people like, oh, the word shouldn't hurt you like that. It ain't even, listen. It ain't even that the word hurt. It's the principle. See, people don't understand. Some men, we stand on principles. It ain't that this word hurt me. It's like, man, that's disrespect. Like, that's a principle. You not finna call me that. That ain't, you not, listen, you not calling me out my name. I'm not finna allow nobody to call me out my name and think that that's cool. No, like, it's not. You know, it's not. That's the principle of the situation. It's about principles. You know what I'm saying? It's about principles. You're not gonna do that. You know, you're not gonna do. I really don't care who you are. You're just not gonna do that. That's a principle. You know, and a lot of brothers I know, they stand on principles. There's certain things you're not gonna call. You're not gonna call a man that. You're not gonna call him out of his name, especially that. Nah. You know, at all. Like we ain't going out. We ain't going out like that. Like, flat out. I don't know about y'all, but most dudes I know. Now, some brothers, you can call them whatever you want to call them. And they ain't finna do nothing. But you not, it's certain things, if they are said to me, we gonna have to have some problems. Like, we just gonna have to handle these problems. Rika and man, and you know what's crazy, Rika? I have actually built on that. How I built on that, man. Like, how your blackness, like, it causes you to absorb the energy and things like that. You know, blackness, we absorb the energy. Boom. So I built on that emotionally. So like it's way more powerful when a black person, especially a black man, decides to hold on to that energy. Like, we become way more destructive than most folks because of that. Because of that. Like, I used to build on that, like, way back in the day. Like, it's way more powerful because of the fact that we absorbed it, like, we absorbed that energy. So when we start holding on to stuff, like, man, that's like, that rage is intensifying. Each time we suppress something, that rage gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Stronger and stronger and stronger. Like, that's science. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when you got a brother that just keeps holding on to stuff, man, that brother, you might want to be a little bit afraid of. You gotta, like, that, bro, you gotta keep your distance, because, like, that's not, at any given moment, that brother can snap and it's not gonna be a good situation. Hence why you see these suicide rates the way that they are. Like, straight up. Straight up. We absorbing all of that. You know, so it's crazy. We absorbing a lot and we not releasing at the same time. You know? So we absorb all this energy, but we not releasing at the same rate. So we ain't breaking even. We just got this excess of energy that's stored. You know, just like a person that's obese got the excess fat that's being stored because they not working it off at the same rate in which they taking it in. That surplus and things like that. Like, that's what's happening with us and the energy. Like, we absorbing all this energy, but we ain't releasing half as much as the energy that we are absorbing. So we just walking around on 10, on 1,000. Man, I'm telling you, I said something. I don't have no data to prove it, but I feel like, man, most brothers are just like one just crazy situation away from just snapping. Seriously. And a lot of brothers don't even know it. That's the dangerous part. A lot of brothers don't even know they on the verge of that. A lot of brothers don't even know they on the verge of one bad attitude, one bad situation away from snapping. A lot of brothers don't even realize it. They don't realize it. A lot of brothers don't realize it. Some do, but a lot of brothers don't. A lot of brothers straight think they good and they not. That's another thing. A lot of brothers think they ain't got not one problem. Not one problem. Like, for real. Like, I'm telling you, a lot of brothers are one back. That's why, man, I'm telling you. That's why when y'all see a situation, and again, situations are messed up when they go, but when y'all see a dude that then just snapped out to the point where he didn't kill everybody, like, yeah, that's messed up. Should never did that. We ain't never gonna condone that. But it's like, that's what I'm saying. He might have snapped out because of a simple argument. You be like, Dad, that simple argument caused that? Nope, it wasn't the argument. That dude done been holding stuff in his whole life, and that day he was like, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of it. So now I'm gonna snap. Now I'm gonna snap. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't that argument that caused it. It was the fact that the brother was holding all this stuff in over the years, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back. So that, bro, like, when you dealing with a brother that's on edge like that, man, listen, that's dangerous, man. You, like, that brother gotta, like, do something. Gotta seek some help. Gotta try to change. He gotta do something, because again, he walking, ticking time bomb, man. Ticking time bomb. Man, Jax, I was gonna do a separate video for that. Cause that situation in Philadelphia, I don't know if y'all heard about that, but that dude, that brother that stabbed up the mother of their children, they had like 6 girls, and he stabbed her like 18 times. And it was like, I think it was over an argument, something like that. Man, stabbed her 18 times, I believe. And stabbed her in the head and all of this. They done had 6 daughters. They got 6 daughters. Dude, bro stabbed her 18 times. And I heard, I ain't confirmed this, but I heard it was even in front of the kids. Like, what is we doing? Like that? Man, listen. I read that and I was like, man, I posted it on Facebook, fam. Like, I posted, well, not the what happened, but the picture that everybody's posting around of them, like the family photo. 6 daughters, man, and bro, whole while she was sleeping with the killer, sleeping with him. Oh wow, that show he didn't. Y'all that gave birth to all these children. This ain't no situation where she, listen, this ain't no situation where she done had kids by different dudes. She had kids, she had 6 children by this one guy. This one guy. So she's not one of the ones that she got multiple baby. That she's this one guy. And this dude, man, like I said, I don't know their situation. I don't know what was going on. I don't know what he was dealing with. But man, that's a messed up situation, fam. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine? Can you imagine just giving birth, like this one man? You being with this one man for however long you done been with him. You give birth to all of his kids, 6 of them. And that man takes you away from your kids. Man, that's sick. That's sick. That's sick, man. Like, that's, man, like, I read that and was like, come on, fam. Come on, fam. And unfortunately, the way this is going to get depicted is unfortunate. And this is why brothers don't, this is why the situation doesn't improve. Yes, what he did was tragic, trash, all of that. But why did he do that? See, if we get to the why, then we going to get into the mental health of black men. But instead of us getting into why he did this, we going to condemn him. We going to criticize him. Oh, that brother weak, wicked. Even I did that. But I'm going to get to the science of why it's happening. I can say that's wicked. I can say that's weak. I can say whatever it is, but I'm not going to leave it at that, though. I'm going to dabble with why did he do what he did? Because that's the most important thing, so we can prevent more of these situations from happening. Why would you do that? Why? So when stuff like this start happening, man, we automatically just start condemning a person instead of figuring out why. There's a why. Now, when I say why, I'm not talking about they had an argument and he stepped. No, why? Like, why is his mental in that state to where he feels like I'm about to stab her 18 times in front of these kids? Why is his mind in that state? That's what I'm talking about. That's the why that I'm focused on. But again, when I say that's gonna get swept under the rug, his mental health is gonna get swept under the rug. Whole while when a young white boy shoots up an entire school, the topic is mental health. But when a black dude snaps, that's not the topic. The topic is condemnation. But when a young white boy decides to shoot up a school, a church, a supermarket, then now the national discussion is mental health. But when a brother spazzes out and does something like that, the world ain't talking about mental health. The world is like, oh, you should never do anything like that. He's crazy, thug, woo, evil, wicked. Unfortunately, let that would have been a white dude that did it. We finna be like, we need to talk about mental health. We need to have a mental health discussion. We need to have a National Mental Health Awareness Month, because there's no reason for this white guy to stab this woman 18 times. It had to have been something mentally there. It was a mental health situation. He must have been depressed. He must have been dealing with anxiety, anger. Something must have been happening there. How many y'all think they gonna look into this brother? Y'all think they gonna do a scan of his brain to see if his brain was damaged and that could have potentially led to an outburst? Nope. I guarantee you that ain't gonna happen. Let's study his brain. And that's another thing, man. I'm a big advocate of this. I've been talking about this for a minute. That's another thing in regards to mental health and like depression, anxiety, anger. The crazy part about it, if you go and say, boom, my shoulder hurt, what they gonna do? They gonna x-ray your shoulder. If you go say, man, my heart giving me problem, man, they gonna give you a picture of this heart. They gonna say, all right, man, let's examine the heart or my breathing. Let's examine the lungs. My back messed up. Let's get a picture of your back. But when we start talking about mental health, who's saying let's get an image of your brain? This brother is depressed. This brother is dealing with anger. Who's out here saying or suggesting that, hey, maybe let's tap into your brain? Man, they got plenty of information. They got plenty of studies out here that have made connections between certain portions of the brain and certain moods. So why is it that when we see erratic behavior, nobody is saying, hey, we need to go check his brain out? That doesn't happen. How many times have you heard of a person that's been diagnosed with schizophrenia, depression, bipolar disorder? How many of them have you heard get their brains checked out? Get their brains looked at. Like they see the condition of their brain. You know, if your back is hurting you, they're going to give you a picture of that back so you can see what's wrong. The L5 vertebrae is, boom, you got a herniated disc. Here it is. But when you depressed, we act like that has no connection to the brain. And it actually can and does. When you dealing with anxiety, don't nobody act like it's associated to any part of the brain. But it is and it can be. Man, brothers done play contact sports. Man, a lot of us can have a lot of brain damage that we didn't get checked. How many brothers done play football and then had concussions and never said nothing? That was the norm. You hit somebody, boom, you get a stinger, you got a headache, but you want to play in this game. You don't want to give you this off. So you like, hold up. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm good. Whole while you playing through a concussion. Boy, your brain damaged. If you do that enough times, your brain damaged. Your brain is damaged. If you done got these concussions, and you done played with these concussions and never said anything, more than likely your brain health is not good. And a lot of brothers done been in that same position. So a lot of times, man, people don't understand, man, you could be dealing with a brother, man, and his brain could be damaged. His brain could be damaged. But ain't nobody talking about that. Ain't nobody saying, all right, he tripping out. Here's something wrong with his brain. Let's study his brain. Like, nah. They wait till you die to say, let's look at this athlete's brain. They wait for a football player to commit suicide or to kill everybody in the house to say, well, let's look at his brain. Oh, he has CTE. But you waited for him to kill himself. Junior Seau now. Like, you wait for these dudes to kill themselves to say, well, let's look at their brain. Come on, man. We gotta do the Jax. Yep, yes indeed. Will Smith did that movie Concussion. Right under the rug. Like, people don't know the half. People don't know the half of what we dealing with. I'm trying to tell you, man, if dudes that play contact sports, man, y'all best believe y'all might be dealing with a brother that got some brain damage. More than likely. So you judging that brother, how he at, man, it's literally something wrong with his brain that's causing erratic behavior. Chemical imbalance. This stuff gets a little deeper than people want to know and admit, man. Seriously. This is deeper. I got a book called The End of Mental Illness, and it talks about that. It talks about it. But ain't nobody else really talking about it. You know, I got a book right here called The Neuroscience of Addiction. The Neuroscience of Addiction. And it talks about non-drug addictions. It talks about video games, right? It talks about gaming and how that could be a form of addiction, and how a lot of brothers playing games to escape. You know how people go, people go get drunk, sloppy drunk to try to run from their problems? Well, you got some brothers, they playing the game as an escape. They dealing with things, man. Like life is getting hard for them, for them, so they playing the game as an escape. Whole while a sister will criticize that brother and say, "Oh, you play the game, you ain't no man." Man, that man depressed. That's why he playing the game. But you ain't gonna tap into that though. You just want to say you weak for playing the game. You lame because you a dude and you playing the game. Man, that brother might straight up be depressed. Hence why he playing the game for hours a day. That's his escape. Instead of him taking a drug, instead of him drinking into oblivion, into a state of oblivion, he's playing the game. So instead of you criticizing that man for playing that game, tap into his mind. It might be something like bro might be straight depressed, and that game is an escape route. Gambling, things like that. These are non-drug addictions. These are non-drug addictions. So when you see a brother that's constantly playing the game, like, yeah, some people do it as a hobby, but some brothers are playing the game because, like, they don't want to face life. That game is an escape. Like, they can escape. They can lose themselves in that reality. But how many people are addressing that? How many people are addressing? Man, this is a book. Go get this book. This book talk about it. I ain't just making this up. Neuroscience of addiction. It literally talks about this. And it literally talks about in this book how when it comes to addiction, the stats say more than likely the people that like the prototype of addiction is men. Men. When it comes to mental health problems, when it comes to depression, men. Men. That's the majority. It is men that are dealing with addiction more than anybody else. It is men who dealing with these mental health problems more than anybody else. It is men, literally, in this book, Neuroscience of Addiction. This book ain't got no agenda at all. This book has no agenda at all. This book is just trying to break down addiction. And it's telling you, stats indicate that more men are dealing with addiction, whether it's drug addiction or non-drug addiction. And part of the reason why the addiction is prevalent is because the mental health is not there. They depressed. They got anxiety, dealing with anger. It's men, man. It's men. It's men. So again, come on. Stop sleeping on these things. When you see a brother that got this hobby that he's just indulging in, he might be trying to escape from reality. He might be trying to escape from reality. For real. Y'all really don't know the half, man. Y'all do not know the half. This stuff is real in the field and it gets swept under the rug. Black men ain't just walking around saying the world don't care about how we feel for no reason. We ain't just wake up one day and say the world don't care about how we feel. This ain't just happened overnight. We not saying that it ain't people out here that do care, but we saying collect, like, as a whole. As a whole, the world don't care. Like, yeah, we gonna have a small percentage, and shout out to the small percentage. We definitely appreciate y'all. But as a whole, we at the bottom in regards to people caring about what we actually think, feel, whatever. And it's a lot of numbers that back this stuff up. You know? But the two books that I brought up, Black Men in Depression and the Neuroscience of Addiction, man, go get them joints, man. It's gonna make a lot of connections. But y'all, man, with that being said, man, I gotta get myself ready, man, to go back to this gym, finish them off for this evening. So I appreciate y'all tapping in with the kid, man. This is a great build, man. I don't know when I'm gonna tap back in, because again, I gotta finish this book, Black Man in Depression. I'm gonna try to finish this before I tap back in. So that might be another day or two. So I appreciate everybody tapping in, man. Appreciate y'all. As always, love, man. Appreciate the donations. Ask Styles P, say love is love, man. Y'all take care of that mental. Y'all take care of that physical, man. Hey, we all we got, you know. Hopefully y'all took away some jewels from this particular conversation in this build. If not, hey, oh well. Sorry. But I'm out, y'all. Y'all be easy. Enjoy the rest of that Monday. Peace.